Hello everybody, so here's a quick video showing you how to import a video to add sounds, music, whatever to that, and then how to export it out of Logic again. So I have my track set up, I just opened a new track and I'm going to start by going up to the file menu and go to movie, and I'm going to say open movie. And in this case, this car commercial that we're doing for this project, I think I have that in my downloads folder, car commercial, open. First thing it'll do is ask you, do you want to open the movie? Obviously, yes. Do you want to extract the audio track? Meaning that if there is existing audio, do you want it on a separate track to go along with other stuff? And I'm going to go ahead and say okay, even though I'm not going to use it. It's also going to ask, do you want Logic to conform to the frame rate of the video? And usually, yes, you would do this. So you'd keep the same frame rate, frames per second as FPS. You'd want to keep that for whatever the video is and export it that way too. Okay, so I've got it in here. It opens first as the actual video that I can resize, make it whatever size I want. I can also right click on this and change it to whatever I want, including enter full screen, especially good if you have two displays. You can put the full video on one screen, have your session on the other side, but whatever size you want. If you do close this, notice that it'll open up a new panel over in the inspector. That is, if your inspector is open, that you can watch the movie. You'll notice that if I move ahead, there it is. Yeah, I can scrub through here. And if I double click on it again, then it opens a window. So whichever way that you want, wherever you want to use that. Notice that in the global tracks, it opened up a lane for movie. Remember, global tracks, I can right click on that and I can add lanes for various stuff such as tempo if I want to automate tempo changes and things like that. But there's one for movie, so I've got that here. Notice that it created a track. I had a software instrument track, which I'm just going to delete. So it created a new audio track that just has the original audio in it. Now notice that if I hit return and go to bar 1, beat 1, and I hit play, nothing happens for about 4 seconds, and that's because this has a 4-second leader on the video. So we'll show you in a moment how to fix that so it doesn't do that. Probably want to set your transport area, the visual side of that, to read out to be something that shows time. I always put things on custom so I can see everything, but that's going to, of course, show me that, okay, now I'm at the 19-second mark. Remember that this is empty time code, so we have the first hour, which everything within the first hour is under 1, and then we have minutes, seconds, and then smaller parts of time there. Okay, so the first thing I need to do, though, is set some synchronization settings. So I'm going to go up to the File menu. And normally when you set up some type of settings, you would go to the Logic menu, Preferences, and you'd set up various things. But we're going to set up, that's generally for all settings for any project you do or you create in Logic. We want to go to File and then Project Settings, because we have very specific settings we need for just this project, not every single thing that I do. So I'm going to go to Synchronization. And one, as I said, it opens up a synchronization. One is that we want bar 1, beat 1 to basically be 4 seconds in. That's where the video actually starts. So remember, this is hours, this is minutes, this is seconds. So I can click in there and I can drag up. I can also double click there and just type in the 4. But now, as you see, you may have noticed it kind of visually shifted up there. But if you look, if I hit return, hit play, the video starts immediately. You can see behind there. Okay, I'm also wanting to go to audio, and I can double check that. Oh yeah, my sample rate, usually for video, you would use 48K. For this project, it's fine to leave it at 44.1 if you want. You'll notice that the original audio, which you're not going to use, will change in pitch, not in time, but change in pitch if you change it to 48K. So again, it doesn't matter. You can change that if you want, but yeah, that's fine. And I don't think there's anything else we need to change on this. We got everything we need there. Yeah, so we're good. So I'm going to get out of this and get back to my project, hit return, and the video starts immediately. Now, a cool thing you can do is I can click on where it says movie within the global tracks area, and I can say create marker set from scene cuts. So it's going to essentially, Logic's going to analyze the video based on where it can tell scene cuts happen, usually because of changes of light, and it'll then create a marker. So it goes through it very quickly, and now you see a bunch of markers. I'm going to hit this fill up the window type of thing, make that a little wider too. Well, I don't need that. Don't need it that wide. But you can see it, I can make my lane here taller. So if I want to see more of the clips. But importantly, you notice that there are you can see at the beginning of each scene that Logic was really good about putting a marker right where that happens. So that's pretty cool. Another really cool thing you can do is if you hold down Option and you click right in the middle of a marker, it'll move the playhead right to the beginning of that particular marker. So you don't have to try to drag around and get it just right, turning off Smart Snap or something. You can just Option click on the marker, it moves the playhead right to it. So then if you want to align something to your playhead, you can do that a lot easier, right? Okay, so I exported the audio as it did at the beginning, but you're not going to use this, so you can just mute that. What you will, of course, do is create any instruments. You can create the music if you want. You can go over to the loop browser and you can drag stuff in there. If you want to use these for the background music, you can. Note that some of these, if you go down to some of these categories, you might have, I believe the ones in the lab, we have the, what's that called? Soundtrack Pro pack, and that's basically an older application from Apple called Soundtrack Pro that had a whole bunch of sound effects. And then I can go do instrument and I can say sound effects, and then I have things like, well, of course this video has a car exploding, but it also has, it has car exploding, and there is an explosion sound effect here that you could use if you want. If I though was being I don't know, more experimental, might have this. But maybe you want something like that to happen. Well, you got to find, in other words, you want to cue it up. Let me find where that car explodes. Where was that? Must be in this. Oh, there it is. That's right at the end of it. So I need to kind of move my playhead around. Might have to zoom in. So I'm Option dragging just to make that zoom in a bit. You can, of course, use your sliders up here. But now I can make it maybe a little bit easier to figure the exact point I want it to hear that sound. So maybe I say, oh yeah, I want the cat meow to happen there. I'm just being silly, of course. Okay, so it's easier to actually align those things if they happen on an actual scene cut. But you can put those things in there. But you can also go in here and say, I want. I think there's also some iLife sound effects, various stuff. But if you also are looking at them all, I'm going to say all packs, you can also go into what's called jingles if you're looking under instruments, jingles. And you'll notice that some of these have times instead of beats for how long they are. If you sort by that, then you can see, okay, here's a bunch of kind of like fully produced songs. But it's only 5 seconds long, and then it would loop. So you can see that there are longer ones. If we go up here and look, by the way, you might also want to change your arrange area to have a secondary ruler, which will also show time up there. So you can do that too. But as you notice, I bring it to the end. Okay, this is basically 50 seconds long. If you want some music that's going to last the entire thing, again, you can go to jingles. You could find something that actually is 50 seconds long, like this half dome long. Okay, suppose I could use that. I'm going to drag it right to the beginning. And you notice that it kind of fades out here at the end, but it is still the entire length of the course. If that makes sense to you. So let's say you've finished doing everything that you want. You do want to export then the video. One thing you'd want to do is make sure that the video suddenly stops, and you wouldn't want to have any sound continue after the actual video stops. So yeah, you do need to make sure everything is kind of trimmed in the right place. In this case, I'm just going to trim that back, so make sure everything is faded out, doesn't chop anything off. When you're done, you're going to go back to the File menu, and you're going to go to not bouncing or exporting. You're going to go to Movie, and you're going to say Export Audio to Movie. So this will recreate the movie file. As you can see, an MOV file. You do want it to be on linear. Actually, better to put it on AAC. It'll be a little bit smaller for the purposes of this project. And then I'm going to put it on my desktop, I think. I'm going to name it minus name. I can't remember what project this is, maybe 6 or 7 or whatever it is. You can name it that way according to the instructions, and then click save. And then the next screen, very importantly, it's saying, do you want to enable the original audio? That's what this is asking, although it doesn't seem really obvious. And you do not want that to be included because we don't want the original audio. We just want the audio that you created. So make sure that is not ticked. And then you click OK. It goes through, makes the movie. Now, if I were to go to my Finder, if I go to my Finder and open up that video, you want to double check to make sure it has all the right sounds. So that's it. Just a quick short one just showing you how to get in there and do it, but you can create whatever sound you want. Make sure you follow the project instruction or directions to make sure you are having all the elements that are needed for the project. Okay, have fun.